Welcome back to a sunny Le Grand Bornand, France, in the Haute-Savoie region of the French Alps. And this venue has been rocking, and it, in the last 24 hours, has delivered not one, but two of probably the most exciting biathlon events you could have asked for this season as well, and maybe in several years. The men's pursuit yesterday was absolutely a thriller. The women's mass start, which we just finished up with a little over an hour and a half ago, was just as thrilling. Scott Dixon with Chad Salma. It's 5 degrees Celsius. It's warming up out there in Annecy, and it's heating up on the course. Scott, yesterday's men's pursuit was an absolute thriller, and just break it down for us from the 1,000-foot level.
Well, if you could imagine the most dynamic performance from Jacqueline that he can produce, he promised it ahead of time, and he went in there and actually delivered on an unbelievably fast-paced race, which threw everybody off, except, of course, for Botten, who managed to just hold a level head, kept it together in the range, and then the likes of Dali Shevdal, it was going so well until the very end, and yet still so fast on the skis, he was able to pull back a lot of what he lost in the shooting. But Jacqueline really controlled much of the race, and yet still managed only for a second place. So interesting, can he redeem it for today?
There you see the start order of today's competition. The winner of yesterday's pursuit we alluded to is Johan Olav Botten of Norway, who continues to have a storied breakout season. Third win of the season yesterday. Three wins and 5 podiums in 7 events. He is not finished worse than 4th. An absolute model of efficiency. And if he continues his ways, is anybody capable of catching him today? Scott Dixon.
Absolutely. Dali Shevdal can absolutely outski Botten. It's not by much at all, but if they shoot the same, and if they shoot the same similar speed, then that's absolutely possible. It's true also for Samuelsson. He is capable of winning because he's so fast on the skis. So Botten is not absolutely untouchable. It's just he's so reliable. Shooting slowly, calmly, but getting the targets down, and then using that recovery to get out on the skis quickly and around the track even quicker.
15 kilometers of skiing, 5 laps of 3 kilometers each for these men. The top 30 ranked, top 25 in the overall World Cup standings, plus the 5 best not in the top 25 in those standings from this week's competition. Will go out on the start from the bang of a gun. And the victories in these mass start competitions on the World Cup have come very sparingly if your name was not Johannes Tingesbø, who is retired. So you're looking down the list, the man with the most wins in this model of competition, the mass start, is Vetle Sjöström Christensen. His last one came in 2024. Sturla Holm Lagerreid has 2 wins. His last one came in 24 as well in Oslo, his hometown, in March. There's Sjöström Christensen. He'll wear bib number 5. He is the most successful at this discipline in the field. The last 2 winners besides a Bø brother is Johannes Dahle, who won in 23 in this event on this venue, and Emilien Jacquelin, who won the year before. They're the only 2 who have won a mass start on this venue in World Cup competition. You see Jacquelin in the right side as we see Tommaso Giacomel wearing bib number 4 for Italy. Giacomel has 1 mass start win. It was in Ruhpolding last season, 2025 season, but Johan Olof Botten has turned biathlon on its ear and is a model of efficiency. He's the second fastest skier, or third fastest skier on the season so far statistically, as everybody gets fired up with Eric Perrault sitting second behind Botten in the overall standings. But Perrault not really matching Botten on the shooting range. Botten has missed just 3 shots this year. It's hard to believe, Scott.
Oh, it's absolutely incredible, and it's such a testament to his discipline. And every time he speaks after a race, you hear it, you understand why it is he's getting the targets down. He's so focused on his process and not getting perturbed by misses that he's able to just stick to what works every time he hits the mat.
Top front line of this World Cup, or the World Cup rankings. Johan Olof Botten, the yellow bib, the World Cup overall leader. Eric Perrault wearing bib number 2. Sebastian Samuelsson wearing bib number 3. The red bib reserved for last year's World Cup overall Crystal Globe winner. Sturla Holm Lagerreid lines up behind Sebastian Samuelsson in row 2. Just moments away from the start now of the final competition here in Le Grand Ponant 2025. The BMW IBU World Cup Men's Master is underway.
Giacomel getting a little bit anxious to start there, almost jumping the gun, but managing to hold himself back just for those few moments until the starting pistol was fired.
Well, we saw 2 different ways to the podium yesterday. Emilien Jacquelin of France was flamboyant. He was basically the best showman out there all during the race. He turned that into an artistic performance that didn't get him the win. It got him second place. But he did it by nearly negating 3 penalty loops by how fast he shot. It was a work of art, but it wasn't a victory. The man who won was that man there, who was a model of efficiency. We're going to see efficiency prevail today, or are we going to see the art, the savoir-faire of the French team led by Emilien Jacquelin? We're probably going to get an answer here fairly quickly. Will Jacquelin go out fast as we might expect him to? Doesn't look like he's going to be at the front. You see Jacquelin on the left side of your screen, not forcing the pace. It is Sebastian Samuelsson who has taken the pacemaking in this first lap.
Well, Jacquelin would have to do a lot of work to get from bib 8 all the way to the front, so perhaps a little bit too much to ask, even though he loves being audacious and he loves setting himself these crazy challenges. Even before the race yesterday, the pursuit, he vowed publicly that he was going to make it really brutally fast. And that's the kind of audacity that's tripped him up in the past, but that worked so well for him yesterday. So very interested now to see how he's able to fare in today's race with the success of that approach being so blatant yesterday. and then the pressure to replicate it again today.
When you predict what you're going to do and then go out and do it, that is audacious in a nutshell. So, Scott, we're not seeing Jacqueline do anything so audacious right now. He's sitting in about 9th, 10th spot, middle of the front of this the first third of this 30-man group.
Well, among those 30, there are 13 who I believe are absolutely capable of winning this race. Yes, there are some of those 13 that it relies on others in the field to make mistakes, but there are many winners who have just won generally this season. We've got such a variety. Boston, of course, being so reliable on the shooting range is an easy one to predict. But somebody who's less easy to predict is Gunka, bib number 24 of Poland. I'd love to see what he's capable of doing today in his first mass start, and having skied so well, the 3rd fastest pursuit time in yesterday's pursuit.
Great high water mark for him. Gunka 13th yesterday, his best World Cup finish of his career. He gets awarded for that effort with a start in his first mass start. Also at the back of this group, bib 30 getting a pole there. That was Tero Seppälä in bib 26. And right behind him, Kristo Siimer of Estonia, also in his first debut mass start for a World Cup competition. Campbell Wright for the United States in there, the lone American in the mass start, wearing bib number 12. 2 Germans at the front of the field there, Philip Horn and Philip Navrath, sandwiching Campbell Wright in bib 11 and bib 13. The Germans also have Justus Strelo in the mix here, but not a lot of success from any of those athletes in the mass start to date.
No, the Germans are not having the best season, and it's a bit of a shame for Germany, actually, to not have anybody currently inside the top 10. Horn being incredibly fast on the skis and only pulling it together once for what was an incredible podium for him, his first one in the World Cup. But I do expect to see Germany featuring more, perhaps at the Olympics, and we just need a bit more time for them to come back to their former days of glory.
So coming through the 1.5 kilometer mark now, halfway around this 3 kilometer loop. A little bit longer ski loop than we're used to seeing. Total of 15 kilometers. That'll figure into the legs and the arms and the muscles of these athletes who have been competing for 3.5 straight weeks, race after race after race, and now they're finally going to get a break. But one long, grueling 15-kilometer mass start head-to-head competition to wrap up this first trimester of what has been a really spectacular opening to the season. The Olympic season, of course, everybody's so on edge trying to make their Olympic teams. Scott, we talk a lot about the Norwegian team trying to make the team. You've got a few athletes out here, I think. Their chances are this might be their last chance, we'll say, to make that team today.
Well, yeah, I think you're referring to Fry there, and Fry is such a talented young athlete coming up, and I can expect to see him do fantastic in years to come. He's still only 22 years old, but I think that this is his last chance. As we see it coming to the front there, looks like Claude being a little bit audacious. He's come from 17th all the way up to the very front and pushing the pace now. That's a real opportunity for him to gain some time on the shooting range, of course, because he'll go bib 17 to lane 17, and therefore getting his round down probably first.
Even with that slow start at the front, some of the athletes peeling off the back of the group in this first of 5 laps. And you have to try to maintain contact here to have a chance to be among the leaders.
Interesting that Jacqueline is actually slowing down. He's losing time off the leaders, whereas Fabien Claude has gotten himself all the way up to the front. So the possibility would have been there for Jacqueline, but he's chosen not to take it. So I'm interested to see if he's being a little bit more careful with today's approach.
Sebastian Samuelsson was leading at that 1.5 kilometer mark, and then Fabien Claude rushed to the front to take the lead. Samuelsson is interesting. He's in 3rd overall in the World Cup standings. He's having the best ski performance of his career compared to the field. And of course, these statistics are generated by the IBU over the course of the season, so they're not literal terms, but compared to the field, more competitive than ever is Sebastian Samuelsson. And his shooting is improved as well, but he still has yet to win a competition this year. He has 2 penalties, or 2 podiums coming in, but lots of top 5s. Fabian Claude out with 3 quick hits, as is Strelo. Strelo's 4 for 4 for Germany. Strelo goes 5 for 5. Berghalter is there as well, clean. Perot is clean. Samuelson has one left.
Shooting.
Samuelson clean as well. Who will take the lead, though? If Campbell Wright is clean in there as well. It's going to be Eric Perot who trips the time first. Strelo second, clean. Samuelson, Berghalter from Switzerland. Navrath fifth. Wright from the United States sixth. Fry, who really needs to have a good day today, is in seventh. Kritzmar eighth. Strolia ninth. Hayden Sello 10th. 10 seconds to the top 10 athletes. 1 athlete per second.
Wow, and of the 13 who I believe could win today, only 4 are in the top 12 currently, meaning that so far it's been a pretty bad start for, on average, for the ranked athletes, or the ones who are projected to be up there at the top. But Campbell Wright having a fantastic start, just 5.7 seconds down off Perot's time as they left shooting 1.
Getting a look at the prone hits of Eric Perot. He's perfect on the first of 4 shooting stages, excuse me. First of 2 prone. Nothing really near the edge there. Nice shooting by the Frenchman to take the lead.
Lou Jean-Monod watching on, filming, enjoying the moment.
And Emilien Jacquelin, he looks like he went to the penalty loop. Going to find him on the results here.
2 times.
2 penalty loops. That is a rough start for Jacquelin. And a little bit of a dynamic issue when you miss 2 in the first 2 stage of the mass start, Scott. You generally see those athletes have a hard time staying in the dynamic of the front of the field.
Well, that's it, and Fry is one who is at the front of the field, just clinging on to that group. Skied really, really slow yesterday. In 3 minutes 22 seconds back he was in total time. But just in terms of his ski time, he was 2 minutes and 20 back. Of course, he might have taken his foot off the gas a little bit. That's after having hit 19 out of 20. But he cannot have been feeling in great shape. So the fact that he's in 6th right now is either taking a toll on his body, or he's magically found some form overnight.
Well, a man who does very well in these head-to-head competitions because of his shooting prowess and speed is number 15 on the left of your screen, now being passed by Sebastian Samuelson, Eric Perot, and Campbell Wright, is Justus Strelo. Strelo was clean and had the fastest shooting time by a second over his teammate Philip Navrath. So we talked about the Germans having trouble. Well, they took the bull by the horns and shot the fastest and clean. Navrath and Strelo now near the front of the field. And Hornig from Czech Republic is really a fast shooter. He was 3rd fastest. Campbell Wright checking in 4th on the fastest time shooting in shooting number 1. 4 kilometers now, 2.8 seconds between 1st and 5th. 10 seconds still between 1st and 10th.
The first of those who have missed, Fabien Claude, being a little bit perhaps rushed on lap number 1. I'm not convinced that caused the miss though. I think he might have been a little bit too eager to get away after getting the first 4 down, and in front of his home crowd that would be quite a spectacle to be up off the mat and leaving him in the lead, and sometimes that impulse to perform, to show off, maybe show off a little bit too hard, but it can lead you to make simple errors behind the rifle.
So Fabien Claude, as you point out, is the first athlete out of the shooting range with a miss. 20.3 seconds back. How hard is it going to be for him, showing how well he skied that first lap, to get back into this race with that one miss?
I think absolutely is still in the race, there's no doubt. Anybody who is within 30 seconds is well and truly in this race still. Jacquelin with 2 misses, 41 seconds back, leaving shoot number 1. I would say now that's a tall order. But for the likes of Dali Shevdal, 1 miss, 25.9 seconds. He is in this race, absolutely.
Emilien Jacquelin now comes through 36.4 seconds back. He's made some time, but he's way at the back, and he's going to languish back there unless he goes perfect from here on out. Martin Ponsaluma making a huge run from shooting 1. Ponsaluma checked the timing clock out of the first shooting at 22.5 seconds back. He's moved up to 8th. 11 seconds back, so he's erased half of the deficit he had to the leaders in that first half of this loop.
Sebastian Samuelsson, he's one of mine to look out for today. Going by ski form, he's of course fantastic. The fastest yesterday, second to him was Ponsaloma, 16 seconds back. So in the pursuit, Samuelsson was flying, but he missed 4 targets. Something was not clicking on the shooting range, and I would like to think today he's able to regain his thoughts after yesterday's slight failing behind the rifle, and then today put it to rights.
Scott, you pointed out that Isak Frey had a really rough day yesterday on the skis. He's doing well today, though. He's clean, and he's in the number at the front of the field.
Yeah, I'm a little bit worried that he's pushing, perhaps, if he was ill yesterday, and there's no indication that he was necessarily, and the Norwegians tend not to let people race. But if there was a physiological issue yesterday, those things don't tend to resolve overnight. And I really hope that he does feel good. It would be amazing to see Isak Frey perform well today, but I am concerned it might be taking a real toll on his body staying with this group.
Frey hanging in at 4.4 seconds back at 4.5 kilometers, approaching shooting number 2 of 4. Be a prone again. After shooting number 1, only 12 clean shooters through shooting point number 1. 6 of them at the front of the field now. With Frey 7th, just dangling off the back. Perot very quickly into his position.
Adjustments to Perot's sights there. 2 clicks to the left, accounting for the wind, but Justus Strelo not only accurate, but shooting very quickly, getting 5 out of 5, the first to do so.
Strelo will be out the fastest. Nabrath with a miss, Wright with a miss. Samuelsson, Perot, all clean. Burkholder clean. Giacomelli clean. Frey clean. That'll be your leader. It'll be Strelo on a very fast shooting performance to take the lead from Perot. Frey in 3rd, Samuelsson 4th, Burkhalter. Inexplicably, the Swissman just having a great start to the season in 5th spot now, nearing the halfway point of this mass start. He is in deep water and doing well, swimming great.
Yeah, and a great shoot there from Jacques Gallant, slightly recovering, but almost a collision there as the 2 athletes, one coming onto the penalty, one coming off. Always a dangerous spot when everyone's trying to get around as quick as possible, but there we see Jacques Gallant leaving quickly, getting outside, away from that penalty loop.
Get a look at the shooting again of Eric Perot. Cameras trained on him, the French star.
Just before he squeezes the trigger, you can see his left eye just closes ever so slightly as Lou Jean-Monod watches on eagerly. That's after her 2nd place earlier on today behind Norwegian Tjørkeide in the women's mass start. What a race that was.
The German, you're getting pictures of Justus Strelo, 20 seconds. Again, the fastest shooting time, and he's perfect. And that is Strelo only a -2 to the field, to the average of the field on ski prowess. And he's able to hang because he eats up that time on the shooting range and hits. And this is an opportunity for him, as you see Burkhalter really having a great season and a great day for the Swiss athlete in bib 20.
Well, you see Strelo shooting accurate and fast. He shot all 5 targets down on the first visit in 19.6 and on the second visit 20 seconds. So it's incredibly consistent, indicating there's no impulsivity going on there. He is following a rigid routine and is able to accurately shoot in 20 seconds in prone, which is quite remarkable.
That is how this sport shakes out. It's not all about the best at any given thing, but Justus Strelo skis just fast enough to stay with his lead group and hanging tight with the top 5 now. All of these men clean through 2 shooting stages from the prone position. They'll go to standing next. But in the meantime, they've got about 2.5 kilometers left of this 3-kilometer course, or 2 kilometers left.
Well, it's surprising nobody to hear that Martin Ponsaloma of Sweden is currently well, he's skiing the fastest, and of course, time 2 was the fastest, just 1.2 seconds ahead of Christensen, who is also on the chase. As you can see on the screen behind Botten and behind Jacqueline, a good trio. You'd want to be with them if you're trying to cover or recover lost ground.
Well, hold the presses. Johanna Olaf Botten we've not called his number. The yellow bib has 2 misses on the day, and that's almost doubling his season total of 3 coming into today. So Botten,
easy pace there that Perrault was setting. Samuelson would be quite comfortable in behind following his rhythm, but Jacquemel deciding to take the inside line as Perrault gives way actually to allow somebody to go ahead down the hill.
at 7.5 kilometers, it is Perrault leading by a half a second over Samuelson. Jacquemel from Italy in position to pounce as well. He's 9/10 back. Strello's still there at 1.6 back. Ponsaluma, Fry, that's your top 6. Then a gap to Dali Shevdal with a miss on the day and making his way back towards the front with his ski prowess. But Johan Olaf Botten has a kink in the armor. 2 misses on the day.
Well, you can see Jacqueline is actually having started leading that group of Christensen and Botten, is now at the back of it, indicating that he is tired, and he expended such a lot of energy in that sprint finish yesterday. I'm not surprised at all that he's tired. But perhaps, again, he is just taking this a little bit slower today and easing into the race. It remains to be seen which of those 2 scenarios it actually is.
2 shooting stages left, just a little over a handful. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, about 10. There's 10 clean shooters still through the prone stage. The top 2 are clean. Jacquemel, though, with a miss, still at the front and now taking the lead. And we'll have to watch his skis here, Scott. He's clearly having a good day on the skis.
Yeah, for sure. And the conditions are fast right now. Ponsaloma fully capitalizing on the speed of the snow conditions. He's missed 1 target, but like Jacquemel, having also missed 1, they have managed to reconnect with the leading group and in fact get up there into the very front 2 positions. So the 2 leaders currently, or I should say the first and third, that was Samuelson in second, have both missed the target.
And what of Isak Fry? We talked about his need to have a good race. The window closing on Olympic selection, and Fry probably outside the discussion just based on eyeballing it. But what would this do if he could stay here for the young Norwegian?
Wow. He will give the biggest headache to the Norwegian selection committee ever if he has a brilliant race today. But you can see he is a little bit off the back now. Either that's just discipline, and that's him saying, I'm now going to settle down, let these guys fly off ahead into the shooting range, and I'm just going to settle my breathing, calm my nerve, or he's absolutely knackered.
Shooting 3 of 4, 3 laps of 5 skiing down, and there are the shooting percentages from the standing position of your leaders. 85%, the weakest of those 3 in Fry. Jacquemel off quick. Beats Strelo to the punch. Strelo's catching up though. Miss for Fry. 5 for 5 for Jacquemel. Perrault goes 5 for 5. Samuelson in trouble. He's got 2. He'll go to the lap twice. Strelo goes clean as well and maintains his position. It's going to be Tommaso Jacquemel with clean shooting through 15 to lead out of the 3rd shooting stage. Perrault just 4.6 back, and Strelo right on his heels. Then a break as we have athletes in the penalty loop and chasers from the clean shooting number 3. Burkhalter will move into the 4th spot. Amazing for Burkhalter.
And we see there Botten and Christensen, both of them go 5 for 5 and are going to get themselves right up again with a possibility of touching the podium, perhaps even taking the win again, supposing that there are misses up at the front. It wouldn't be easy to claim a victory now from any time more than 1 penalty loop difference, which is about 22 seconds. So if you're outside that now, you would need to get lucky, even if you get 5 out of 5.
Shooting three, Button finally goes clean, finds his clean shooting again, and finds himself in 7th spot, 32.5 seconds back, which is within striking distance of the podium, but he's going to need misses from Giacomel, who has won from the first shooting stage, and Giacomel has been perfect and flying on the skis ever since, and shooting quickly as well. Giacomel trying to take his 3rd victory of his career. That would be the 2nd this season.
And you can see the movement of his rifle, beautiful control, movement onto the target. In stand shooting, it's very difficult, especially when you're out of breath, to hover on the target and retain an accurate sight picture. So moving onto the target is the best way to combat that instability, and Giacomel perfectly exemplified that strategy there in his stand shooting.
Johannes Shevdal tried to take the lead by shooting quickly. It didn't work. He has another miss, but his shooting time was an amazing 14 seconds. That's 4 for 5 in 14 seconds. You're looking at that time of last year set here by Martin Uldal in the sprint that he won of 12 seconds as the sort of the world record of standing shooting. Shevdal getting awfully close with 14 seconds standing in the first of 2 standing bouts today.
And Christensen, he's in really good ski shape, as well as Giacomel, who you can see is absolutely attacking this, trying to retain his lead, and plenty hungry athletes right behind him. Perrault, of course, being one of the foremost among them, and that's after yesterday being defeated in the sprint finish by his teammate Jacqueline. So he's out for vengeance and really trying to claim a higher spot on the podium today.
Tommaso Giacomel pulling time out of Perrault and Strelo. Perrault not able to match the prowess of the Italian at the front of the field. He left chasing by 4.6 seconds after shooting 3, and it's grown to 12 now. And Christensen and Botten, what have they done? They have lost time as well.
Yeah, they're doing really well. They're doing well together as a pair, but Giacomel is absolutely flying at the front, perhaps fueled a little bit by adrenaline and the excitement of being the leader of a race, especially with so many massive names who are all on top form at the moment.
Giacomel won the Hochfilzen men's sprint in the last stop of the World Cup, and that was his 2nd victory to match his mass start win in Ruhpolding last year. Giacomel absolutely in control of this race now with a big gap to 4th. He's basically contending with these 2 athletes. Justus Strelo trying to match Perrault stride for stride, and Strelo is not used to doing that. Perrault maybe a little bit off his best ski form today.
Yeah, and Perrault actually settling in behind Strelo, deciding initially at the base of that hill to tuck in, but the pace was too slow. So Strelo is now in behind Perrault and getting the advantage of being in his slipstream down the hill.
Sobotin and Christensen each losing a second to Giacomel, the leader at 10-kilometer mark. Then they're not making a dent. They're not losing time, but they're staying even at 32.4 and 32.9 back, respectively. Ponsaloma and Samson charging another 7 seconds back, trying to be irrelevant as this event comes to a close with just one more shooting stage and a lap and a half of skiing left.
Do you know, I do often wonder about Ponsaloma. If he just slowed down on the skis, would he hit more targets? I don't know. Perhaps he wouldn't. Perhaps that additional space, mental clarity would actually be worse, because for some people that is the case. But Ponsaloma, he's missed 3 and is still only 39 seconds back off the lead. And I do wonder if he can get all 5 of these targets down, and if there's a miss up front, he's in with touching distance of a victory.
We've seen it happen. We've seen crazier things happen. But right now, Giacomel seems to be in quite a bit of control of this men's mass start, and Perrault has now dropped Strelo. Strelo just going to mind his P's and Q's and come in and do his thing and see where his chips might fall.
What an unbelievable ski performance and shooting performance from Giacomel. That early miss in prone didn't seem to have too much of an impact, with the remaining 10 shot or the following 10 shots all being hit. But now this is where the pressure really is going to be mounting on his shoulders. He's going to have to silence all those thoughts about the possibility of yet another victory in front of this really excited crowd, and just focus on his process, his breathing, his trigger pressure, and get those targets down.
After his victory in the sprint in Hochfilzen, he says to win on the World Cup, you have to go all out. You have to take risks. And I'm not sure if he's risking right now, but he is pushing the pace in the front of the field, pulling away from everybody except Martin Ponsaloma, the only athlete really making time on him in that loop. Samuelsson also with Ponsaloma taking a couple seconds out, so the two Swedes really the only ones able to match this man on the skis, but he's 2 shots better than both of them. For the win.
Beautiful control. It's fast.
And that's the way you do it.
Oh. Fast, accurate. What amazing shooting there from Jacamel after skiing so quickly.
Absolutely silencing the French crowd as they know the victory is not within grasp. But Perel will go clean as well. Clean on the day, 20 for 20. Strelo a little bit slower, came in a little bit behind, but he goes clean as well.
Wow, the first 3 all going clean with all of that pressure. What unbelievable biathlon performances. And now the question is, who is going to get into the flower ceremony? Well, so far, there's not been any misses. Ponsaloma, the first to get a miss. But Christensen, he goes 5 out of 5. Botten, also 5 out of 5. And Dali Shevdal, he also goes 5 out of 5. And now 3 of the fastest Norwegians are battling it out head-to-head on this last lap for 4th spot.
It's just too far from the podium. 20 seconds to Justus Strelo from Christensen. I don't see that being achievable, but Tommaso Giacomel missed 1 in the first stage and almost erased it immediately and then came back with a dominant performance. That is how you do it. It's not going to be a thriller, but it is a great performance that wins on the day. He's just got to stay on his feet as he has a 17-second lead over Eric Perrault of France. But his performance basically silenced the French crowd as they realized that there's no real chance for Perrault to win now.
Well, you say Strelo, I have to say I think he is going to get caught. And the reason I say that is because he was 20 seconds back course time on the second lap. He was 14 seconds back on the third lap. And this is all behind Christensen, one of the chasers. Oh, no, I should say, that is Christensen chasing Strelo. So in one single lap, Christensen has already caught up that much on Strelo.
So Strelo, perhaps in trouble. He has a 19-second lead over Christensen, leading the shooting range. That's Strelo in the background, right there, chasing Perrault. He left the shooting range 3 seconds back of Perrault. Meanwhile, Tommaso Giacomel goes through the 13-kilometer mark with a time of 29:49.6.
But Perrault really is putting the pace down now, attacking at this, what is a fairly early part of the last lap. So an early attack can really be a hindrance. But here is Strelo's biggest fear, a nightmare of 3 of the fastest in the world, all hunting him down for that podium. Christensen, Botten, and Dali Shevdal. But Christensen giving way there to let Botten go through and do a little bit of the legwork.
Botten looks stronger than Christensen. Christensen lets him by, waves him through. Can Botten get to Strelo by the finish line and make it yet another podium finish? He has finished off the podium just once in 7, or just twice in 7 competitions. He was 4th in the Hochfilzen sprint and 4th in the Annecy sprint, and he's been on the podium or winning every other event this season. Botten trying to get back on the podium and deny Germany a well-needed podium finish. There's the gap. Still don't see the chasers coming around on that corner at the top of the screen, and there they are. Strelo's got to get around this corner and get into the downhill. So a little bit more climbing. They don't do the 180 turn. They go a little bit further around this time check than the women did in this 3-kilometer loop. This is the gap that we need to see, though.
You can see the hunger there on his face as he's trying to keep the chasers at bay. But Christiansen deciding it's his turn now to get in ahead of Botten. They're working together to close that gap, but Christiansen has the pace and he has the form. And he is on one of the fastest today overall, if not the fastest. And he thinks that there is the possibility of closing that gap. Strelo knows it, Christiansen knows it, and he has every right to be very afraid.
The gap between Strelo and Christiansen was 19 seconds after shooting 4. It's now just 9. But at the front, Tommaso Giacomel enjoying this victory as he turns right and heads down towards the stadium for his 3rd career World Cup win. And what a way to close out this first trimester for Tommaso Giacomel.
Yeah, ahead of a home Olympics as well. Milano Cortina could be an opportunity for Giacomel to demonstrate how good he really is, as he has already done this season and the seasons before it. He's consistently in the top 10 in the overall World Cup standings, and now proving to be a medal contender in the individual races at the Olympic Winter Games.
I counted in my head there. We don't have an official split time, but I had 6 seconds as a count between Strelo and Christiansen, and I think you're right. Christiansen is going to drop Botten and try to take the 3rd spot for himself. He's
running out of track to do it. He's going to have to go fast.
It's very tight. About 6 seconds is what I saw. And meanwhile, at the front, Tommaso Giacomel blowing kisses to his coaches. He grabs the Italian flag on a ski pole and celebrates once again. In his 2nd straight World Cup stop, he takes his 3rd World Cup victory, 2nd in this discipline, and he is becoming a master at the mass start. Giacomel wins in Annecy-le-Grand-Bornand.
And as Perrault is coming in towards the line, you can see the battle for 3rd.
Christiansen moving on the outside. Strelo knows it's just not going to happen, and Christiansen shuts down Strelo and forces him to the wooden medal position. Christiansen takes the bronze. Strelo, great performance still in 4th, and coming in 5th is Botten, the World Cup leader. The worst showing of his season in 5th spot. And Campbell Wright of the United States coming in 7th. 2 misses on the day for him.
Yeah, what a great race for Campbell Wright. 2 mistakes, and Dali Shevdel, what a shame, despite just 2 mistakes and being one of the fastest on the last lap, one of history's fastest last lap artists. And he wasn't able to withstand the pressure of Christiansen.
There you see the fatigue. Justin Strelo is still on his knees after a strong performance by the German. That will be his best finish of the year by, he was best up to this point. He is 13th twice, so a jump of 9 spots for a season best for Justus Strelo.
And we saw Fry coming across the line in his blue bib, under 23, missing 2, but unfortunately, I think that early dropping of pace coming into the range was actually an indicator that he hasn't got the form. And the same is obviously true for Bakken as well. 1 minute 45 seconds back with 2 penalties. That's only 1 more penalty than the winner of today's race.
Christiansen, meanwhile, posts the best total course time, or 2nd best total course time behind Ponsaloma. That's a good day of skiing for Vetle Sjostad Christiansen, and he's rewarded with another podium finish despite 2 misses on the shooting range.
Yeah, he is the most experienced mass start artist there. Well, I shouldn't say most experienced. Of course, Simon Eder is most experienced with regards to anything in biathlon in this field. Hoffer a close 2nd, but Christiansen really has been at the sharp end many times, and he knows how to pace it. He was fast all the way through. Quentin Fillon-Maillet, what a shame for him as he comes up across the line in 26th. But Christiansen, really the quickest skier on the day. No, the 2nd quickest skier. Ponsaloma was the fastest by 1.5 seconds ahead of Christiansen.
Christiansen, the most successful at this discipline of this field, but it's not by a lot. Just three times winner. But the winner today Tommaso Giacomel, all smiles as he hits 19 for 20 and skis away from the field to take victory. Kristo Siemer of Estonia will come in 29th. And in his first mass start ever, Jan Gunka of Poland into the 30th spot. That wraps it up.
Some great shooting from Burkhalter of Switzerland, Strello, and Perot, all of whom managed to get the perfect 20 out of 20.
Burkhalter finishing 10th, 101 back. I believe that ties his career best. And I'll double check that, but yes, it does. He's finished 10th twice before and will finish 10th for a third time, will Burkhalter.
We just saw that move there, Christensen on the sprint finish. That, for me, solidifies his spot on the relay team at the Olympics. He's got a powerful last lap, powerful sprint finish. He's disciplined on the range. He's experienced in the relay competition. He appears to be experiencing a little bit of discomfort there after the finish line. Looks like he's overheating, actually.
Could be lactic acid. It's possible.
Yeah, that's a fair hypothesis. But Christensen, yeah, I think for me, I can't see him not getting selected for the Olympics. He's just so good. He's been great this season. He's demonstrated the full spectrum of performances in every single race discipline so far. And he's one of my solids. Lagride appears to be one of the solids. Botten, for sure, he's going. But I think Fry today could be his last World Cup race before the Olympics, and perhaps his chances of being selected are over.
If Fry ended up in the 15th spot with 2 misses on the day, but your assessment of Christensen, he's with the retiring of the Boo brothers, he is clearly the most seasoned athlete for the relay situation, especially the last leg of the relay for the Olympics, in which the pressure just will be so great for anybody who is in a medal position at that point in the relay. You have to consider him for both the men's relay and maybe the mixed relay as well.
Well, yeah, that's a very good point. The mixed relay, it's even harder to select for the mixed relay. And but Norway has plenty to select from. Of course, Stromsheim and Søren really haven't featured highly on the World Cup this season, but are both capable of absolutely phenomenal things on the World Cup. Whether they'll get a look in after Christmas remains to be seen.
There's the blow of the kiss, Tommaso Giacomel, and the feeling is oh so good in Le Grand Bornand Annecy. Flower ceremony coming up shortly.
Just such an interesting statistic there is that Justus Strello of Germany getting his shooting time on prone 20 seconds in both first and second shoot, almost exactly. But then in stand, 20 seconds as well. The difference between his shoot visits in all visits is less than a second. That's crazy. No. 20 seconds for all of his shooting, each one individually.
We've been seeing those shooting performances show up on social media where they show them side by side, and you could stack all 4 of those shooting videos, and they almost probably match up almost shot for shot. That is consistency at its best.
And that's consistency of process, which is something that I tend to harp on about, but I love it. It's such an important factor of biathlon is having a rhythm. It's like classic skiing. If you don't have a rhythm, you can't utilize the kick and grip of the ski. The same thing applies to shooting. You've got to be able to move on to the target and incorporate your breathing into that process. And Strello seems to really have mastered the ability to get that consistency.
Johan Olaf Botten has missed 2 more shots to make it a 5 miss total for the season. Hard to believe, but he remains in the World Cup overall lead after today's performance. The weakest of the season, 5th. He's had finished no worse than 5th all season long, and that is through 8 competitions of 21 on this World Cup circuit. We don't know what's going to happen at the Olympic Games, but one thing is for certain. Johan Olaf Button has a nice big lead in the chase for the Crystal Globe for this 2026 season.
He takes a big deep breath in, exhales, pauses briefly on the target before applying just a tiny bit of pressure through the trigger. And I say tiny, it's 500 grams of pressure, but the way these biathletes train is to pull something like 450 to 480 grams of pressure and hold it at that pressure. They're so used to training at that level. And then just the final squeeze of the trigger is only then 30 grams or so. So there's barely any movement through the rifle.
Tommy, what's the feeling like of winning in front of this full house and bring the flag with you at the finish?
It's unbelievable. Winning in Grand Bornand, I think it was my biggest biathlon dream, and today I achieved it. So it's unbelievable, just unbelievable.
And once again, a 1-2 with a good friend of yours.
Yeah. But I have to say today, I felt quite unbeatable. Like, I felt from the start I was feeling incredibly strong, and the first miss in the prone was my fault. It was not the wind or whatever factor from outside. It was just me. And then I am just proud how I managed the situation in the standing. You know, shooting on lane 1 2 times with a small gap before the others, and knowing that the crowd is cheering for others and not for me, that's unbelievable.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, good friends competing against each other, Tommaso Giacomel and Eric Perrault. They'll sit 1 and 2 in the overall standings in this discipline after finishing 1st and 2nd today. Giacomel won in Hochfilzen ahead of his friend Eric Perrault there as well. So they've gone 1-2 twice this season, with the Italian getting the better of the two twice. And they do represent, Scott, the future of the sport.
Yeah, and it's great for Italy as well to have so much talent across the men and women's field. I think that they're one of my favorites for the mixed relay Olympic gold. I think that's where they're going to have to concert a lot of their attention and effort for that potential gold medal. But they've got some pretty tough teams to contend against. But Giacomel, just such an audacious and such a confident character. I love it because confidence can often trip you up. But for Giacomel, he said, I felt unbeatable. And he really manifested an unbeatable race today.
And in the end, he looked unbeatable. He won fairly comfortably despite that missed shot. And Jacomel carries some great momentum into this break before the new year and ahead of the Oberhof World Cup in early January.
Alors le champion c'est un véritable champion. Vous l'avez pas raté non plus, je pense que vous l'avez beaucoup encouragé tout au long du parcours.
Impeccable, hein. Et le coq, je sais pas où je l'ai mis. J'ai réussi à le perdre. J'ai dû le foutre dedans. Merci. Pierrot, il me trouve un coq et... C'est les émotions. Et la Cara. La Cara. Ouais, la Cara. Bah oui, mais...
Mesdames et messieurs, la cérémonie protocolaire de la Coupe du Monde de Biathlon BMW IBU Annecy le Grand Mordant Mastart Homme va démarrer dans quelques instants.
Prêt? Ready, steady, hein? Oui. Il faut que mettez-le dans le sac, je prendrai plus tard. Congratulations, Italia. Sorry, be happy about winning. Yes. Ouais, c'est bien. On a fait pour aujourd'hui, mais...
Che gara, Dio caro. Bravo.
Con la testa, così, sempre così. Poi 17,3, 17,6, cioè, mi sembra che spari piano.
Tutto qua.
No, proprio...
Allora il mio sogno del biathlon è completo. Era vincere una gara qua.
Allora puoi smettere.
Alla Giorgio di
Sì, dai.
Aspetta.
Prima gara sul giro dell'anno, prima vittoria.
Vai.
Okay, guys. Now we have a little one more rush.
Aspetta, metti vedo che ci
Vai fuori.
Dammi. Non può adesso, non può, devo scattare le proprie. Guardi la foto.
Okay, to me.
Andiamo, stiamo.
Congrats. Auguri.
Thank you.
You broke my wall!
I missed everything.
Your activation routine is...
It works! It works!
No, lo fa del show.
No doubt about victory today, so it was a good one. But you shoot it fast in first. Standing and 10 seconds and then...
Vive la France!
17. Andre vei. Du må ta den riktig. Nei, sånn. Blå på... Sånn. Wow. It was a bet. If I won here, I should dye my hair. Color my hair.
The IBU anthem sounds, and the top 6 athletes of this men's 15-kilometer mass start BMW IBU World Cup Biathlon come to be recognized to close out a great 4 days of competition in this Haute-Savoie French Alps location of Le Grand Bonnant. It's been a good stop for Vetle Sjostad Christensen in this beautiful venue of the Grand Bonnant, getting the medal from the Olympic champion in Nagano in the 15-kilometer individual, Katarina Dafovska, now on the IBU Executive Committee and Vice President, I believe she is, she was the Bulgarian Sportsman of the Year back in 1998 for that Olympic championship gold medal she took from Nagano. Vetle Sjostad Christensen takes the bronze today in a fairly strong ski performance, which is not what he's normally relied on in recent years, but he was great today. Eric Perrault, you can feel the anticipation of his top form. It wasn't today, but clean on the shooting range. So much pressure really on his shoulders coming into this season, with everybody with his name on their lips as the next great biathlete, but it's been Johan Olof Botten and Tommaso Giacomelli who have won multiple times. And Botten staying in the top spot overall in the World Cup standings. Perrault still with a great performance today in second. And he will remain, after today, in the second spot in the overall standings behind Botten. But Tommaso Giacomelli will move up one place from fourth in the overall standings today to the top 3. But on the day's performance, he is the best. Tommaso Giacomelli, once again, on the top rung of the podium for a 3rd time in his career, and the 2nd time in just 2 World Cup stops.
You can see how much it means to him. The first time was this season, standing at the top of the podium was something of a shock, but now this is where he feels he belongs, and I think we can expect to see Tommaso Giacomelli up at the top of the podium more and more, perhaps even at the Olympic Games in front of his home crowd.
The pressure will certainly be on, but he is one thing when you get into that setting in the Olympic Games, you need to have been there before at the highest level, and now Giacomelli starting to get comfortable in that #1 spot, his 2nd win of the season. And his 2nd in this discipline, the mass start. He's won in the sprint, and he's won twice now in this mass start. And the mass start really a sign of mastering this sport. Estrello doing everything he could, and still winds up 4th, but a great day for him, his best performance of this young season. It's a 5th place for Johan Olof Botten. Not a bad worst showing of the season, to say the least. Has been in every single flower ceremony and remains the best biathlete in the world. And Johannes Belleshevdal might just chalk this stop in the World Cup up to making his first ever Olympic team for Norway.
feel a little bit sorry for Strello to come out of shooting 4 with a gap of nearly 20 seconds and then to lose that 3rd spot. It must be painful. But he did everything he could on the skis and certainly on the range with total discipline on the shooting range.
It bodes well.
Targets.
It bodes well though for when the nerves are at their highest at the Olympics. Strello pulled it off here, and you never know. You just never know what you'll see in Milan Cortina. But today we know what we saw in Italian. Tommaso Giacomel, the Italian, takes the victory. Eric Perrault second, and Vetle Sjostad Christensen in third. 3 Norwegians of the top 6, but it's the Italians who get the bragging rights today in the Grand Bonan. And that brings us to an end of this great World Cup stop. The athletes will take a break and get a much needed rest after a grueling trimester number 1. And the World Cup resuming in early January as the BMW IBU World Cup Biathlon descends on the vaunted venue of Oberhof in the new year. Until then, have a great holiday season and new year. We'll see you on the other side in 2026.
Alors Anna, je crois que tu es avec Tommaso, justement le grand vainqueur du jour.